Mattie Silks, the queen of Denver's underworld. In the booming West of the late 19th century, fortunes rose fast and fell even faster. Gold and silver poured out of the Rocky Mountains, railroads pushed across the plains, and in the growing city of Denver, Colorado, opportunity wore many different faces. Some wore miners' boots, some wore bankers' coats, and some, like Mattie Silks, wore silk and diamonds while quietly building an empire in the shadows. Mattie Silks would become one of the most famous madams in the American West, a woman who turned vice into high society and carved out power in a world dominated by dangerous men. But her story didn't begin in Denver. She was born Martha Reddy in 1846, likely in Pennsylvania, though like many frontier figures, the exact details of her early life are blurred by time. What is clear is that by the time she reached adulthood, America was expanding rapidly westward, and young women with ambition and nerve often followed the boom towns. Mattie was one of them. By the early 1870s, she had made her way to the mining regions of Colorado, where rough camps were transforming into permanent cities almost overnight. These towns were filled with miners flush with cash, railroad workers far from home, and businessmen eager to spend. Where money flows, entertainment follows. Mattie quickly learned the economics of the frontier. At first, she worked within the world of dance halls and prostitution. But unlike many others in the trade, she had a sharp business mind. She understood presentation, she understood clientele, and most importantly, she understood that the real money wasn't in working for someone else. It was in ownership. By the mid-1870s, Mattie Silks had moved into management and then into full madam status, operating high-end brothels that catered to Denver's growing class of wealthy miners and businessmen. Her establishments were not the rough, violent cribs common in many boom towns. They were refined, carefully controlled. Mattie insisted on quality furnishings, proper dress, and a level of order that separated her houses from the chaos of the street trade. In doing so, she attracted a more affluent clientele and significantly higher profits. Money began to flow, and Mattie Silks knew exactly how to use it. She dressed lavishly, often appearing in expensive gowns and jewelry that signaled her success to both customers and competitors. She invested in property. She built connections with powerful men in Denver's business and political circles. By the late 1870s, she was no longer just a madam. She was an institution. But the West rarely allowed success to remain peaceful for long. Mattie's personal life was as dramatic as the boomtown around her. She became involved with a gambler and saloon operator named Cortez Thompson, a relationship that would become one of the most volatile partnerships in Denver's underworld. Their world was fueled by money, alcohol, and pride. In 1877, tensions between Thompson and a rival named Katie Fulton escalated into one of the most infamous incidents in Denver's red light history. What began as a dispute over business and reputation turned deadly. During a confrontation, Thompson shot and killed Fulton. The case drew enormous public attention, placing Mattie Silks directly in the glare of frontier justice and newspaper headlines. Trials followed. Testimony flew. But in the end, Thompson was acquitted and Mattie's empire survived the scandal. If anything, her reputation only grew because in the Wild West, notoriety often translated into influence. Through the 1880s and into the 1890s, Mattie Silks continued to operate at the top tier of Denver's vice economy. She owned property, managed multiple establishments, and maintained a level of wealth that placed her among the city's most financially successful women, legal or otherwise. Yet time was changing the West. As Denver matured from rough mining town into structured city, reform movements began targeting red light districts, laws tightened, public tolerance shifted. The wide open frontier that had allowed figures like Mattie to flourish began to narrow. Unlike many of her contemporaries, Mattie adapted. Over time, she gradually stepped back from active brothel management and transitioned into a more respectable public life. She invested her earnings wisely and maintained financial stability long after many boomtown fortunes had evaporated. By the early 20th century, the wild edge of Denver had softened. Railroads were established, banks were stable, and the era of the great Western madams was quietly fading. Mattie Silks lived long enough to see the transformation. When she died in 1929 at the age of 82, she left behind a legacy that historians still debate. A woman who operated in the moral gray zones of the frontier, yet demonstrated undeniable business skill, resilience, and strategic intelligence. She was never a school teacher, never a politician, never a banker. But in the raw economic ecosystem of the mining West, Mattie Silks understood supply, demand, branding, and risk better than most of her contemporaries. She built wealth where others found only survival. She built influence where others faced exploitation. And she did it in one of the most volatile environments in American history. Today, Denver is a modern city of glass towers and busy highways. But beneath that skyline lies the memory of a rougher era, when fortunes were made under gaslight, when reputations were currency, and when one determined woman in silk dresses quietly built an empire in the shadows of the Rocky Mountain boom. Mattie Silks did not discover gold. She did not lay railroad track. She did not run for office. But in the economy of the Wild West, she understood exactly where the power was, and she claimed her share of it.